The documentary you're about to watch is the most important documentary I've ever made. This story is far bigger than Tommy Robinson. This is about the weaponisation and the politicisation of these buildings. Court buildings across the West. The Royal Courts of Justice, ironically named. These buildings have been weaponised and used against members of the public to destroy them if they speak out. From Donald Trump to Steve Bannon, to Geert Wilders, to Marie Le Pen, to Katie Hopkins. That's what's happening. My job as a journalist, I stand for freedom of speech, I stand for freedom of the press. And I failed, because 3 years ago when I lost a court case in here, and they bankrupted me to the tune of £1.6 million, on a documentary, you're going to see the entire story was a lie, okay? I failed because I should have come out of court and I should have played you that film. Why didn't I play you that film? Because I was given a gagging order by this building, by this judge. I was silenced, and I allowed them to silence me because I was scared. I was scared of 2 years in prison. I was scared of the effect that solitary confinement for that length of time would have on me. I was scared of jihadi gangs in jail, and I was scared of the effect it would have on my family. I failed me and I failed you. I'm not going to fail myself again.
We've got our rules. Unless you're the Prime Minister. Political satire, right? I don't get political. I feel like it though. I'm getting angrier and holding it all in more and more. Even live I don't really get political. I think I've been naive. I've hit that age where I go, well they're all lying, shitty little corrupt twats. They were just lying in their own part, and I just think I thought there was good guys and bad guys, but now I just think they're all little. Is that political? Is that some really nuanced insight into the workings of society? Greedy little posh twats. Good.
Tommy Robinson calls out Keir Starmer from jail. Ricky Gervais reacts. Let's get into it.
Those that are spreading lies and misinformation as far and as wide as possible, they're not interested in victims. They're interested in themselves. Those who are cheerleading Tommy Robinson, not interested in justice. They're supporting a man who went to prison for nearly collapsing a grooming case, a gang grooming case. These are people who are trying to get some kind of vicarious thrill from street violence that people like Tommy Robinson promote. And those attacking Jess Phillips, who I'm proud to call a colleague and a friend, not protecting victims. Jess Phillips has done 1,000 times more than they've even dreamt about when it comes to protecting victims of sexual abuse throughout her entire career. And so just as I took on the criminal justice system and the institutions when I was chief prosecutor, I'm prepared to call out this for what it is. We've seen this playbook many times.
Tommy Robinson delivered a scathing critique of Keir Starmer, tearing into the Labour leader's carefully managed image. If his accusations have merit, Starmer's credibility could take a serious hit. And that's just the beginning.
At this point I know what they're going to do, yeah. What I believe they're going to do, and that I know no one can tell me why I was brought to that prison only. Yeah. No one can tell me. So I know intentionally, and previously I've been locked in rooms with Muslims in prison, so I believe that. And then in that first week in the block,
Robinson's criticism zeroed in on Starmer's political record, accusing him of neglecting working-class concerns, especially on immigration and cultural integration. He painted Starmer as disconnected from everyday people, more concerned with preserving the status quo than delivering real change.
I've then been told I'm getting moved, and I said to my wife, I'm getting moved, but nothing from the outcry outside, from Lord Pearson, who's a lawyer in the UK, making comments to make sure I'm safe, I knew that nothing had been done to do that.
So you're sat down writing your letter to your wife and your children, and what are you telling them?
That I know by doing what I do that that moment will come. And I know that, and I've chose that.
And you want your children to know that you didn't choose it over them?
So I detailed to my wife that it's not about them, it's not about our children, it's about
every child, everyone's. I'm not apologising because not for 1 minute I'm sorry for what I've done. I'm apologising for what it's caused.
Robinson also took aim at Starmer's foreign policy, financial decisions and what he described as a pattern of broken promises dating back to his tenure as Director of Public Prosecutions.
Why am I not in a DCAT prison? And there's a mental health team there. I said, let me just ask you, is this good for me? She said, no. I said, how bad is it? Because I know how bad it is because I remember what happened last time. So I said, so why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? And I'm a civil offender, so I got 18 months, which is insane anyway, for playing a film that they said wasn't in the public's interest. Well, I think it's on 115 million views. It certainly was in the public's interest, yeah? But they sentenced me to 18 months. Now, as a civil offender, you go to an open prison. What's the difference between that and how I'm being held? When open prison, you get a job outside. You have a car, you go to work. You go stay at home 5 days a month. You have town visits with your family. So that is the only prison you go to for committing civil offences. You're unshipped to a maximum security jail housing the worst Muslim gangs and jihadists in the country. And then they use that then to say you have to go on solitary confinement. And what is solitary confinement? Well, rapists and terrorists are not on solitary confinement, jihadists aren't. Axel, who done his little stabbing spree, the Muslim lad, I was in Belmarsh on solitary confinement. He was 2 cells above me on healthcare. He's got a job. So they're not under solitary confinement. What day is it today? It's Thursday. My routine tomorrow, Friday. At 8:30, people say, yeah, I've got the gym. I have got.
Robinson declared, when the state decides who counts as a journalist, that's communism. A statement clearly aimed at undermining trust in Starmer. As his claims spread, social media erupted with a mix of outrage, skepticism and demands for an investigation, keeping the controversy in the spotlight for days.
To remove people's voices. Where are you in standing up for free speech, Piers Morgan? Seriously. You silenced my speech as soon as I tried to tell you the motives. This man that just come out of jail after 13 months had been encouraging his missus to behead her parents because they were kafar, non-believers. He spent 30 months in jail. He'd been encouraging and promoting ISIS terrorism. And they knew he was still a danger and a threat. That's why he was monitored 24 hours a day. He's only out of jail 2 days before he went and tried to kill people. Why has he been let out of jail? When we start treating these men, don't put them in prison with car thieves or violent offenders or drug dealers, because they're a whole new level. They are foreign fighters, enemy combatants at war with us. No match your pathetic de-radicalisation bullshit programmes that you put them on in prison changes their mind. They are followers.
Political commentators found themselves in a tough spot, grappling with claims from someone many had written off. Labour initially dismissed the controversy, but as it gained traction, Starmer had no choice but to respond. He appeared on multiple news programmes to refute Robinson's accusations, but for many the damage was already done. Doubt had taken root. Just as Labour hoped the controversy would fade, Ricky Gervais stepped in. With his signature wit and unfiltered satire, he took aim at Westminster, proving that a well-timed joke can sometimes cut deeper than any political speech.
2025, but I'm entering my 3rd month of solitary confinement within Woodhill Prison. After 42 days, they had to go to the government after 42 days of isolation. So whose decision is it? Because I know people get frustrated with the prison. It's not the prison. All decisions to do with me and nothing to do with the jail. They're coming from the government. That was I had to give a written response to my opinion on my isolation. After 42 days, it was going to the government for them to continue doing it. So I wrote my written response, which said this doesn't have to happen. When I come in here, I sat down with a psychiatrist and I said to her, what's 9 months of solitary confinement going to do to me? She said it's going to be devastating for your mental health. So I said, so why are they doing it? And 2 weeks ago, this week, I sat down. Every 2 weeks I have a meeting with the governors and the mental health team are there. Psychiatrists are there, mental health, probation, independent monitoring board. They're all there every 2 weeks because I have to have it because I'm on solitary confinement. And this week I said, I'm going to say this because I feel different. I'm telling you, I know how I feel. I feel different. I know I'm only 2 months in. So why am I still being held in solitary confinement?
Gervais's involvement sent the controversy into overdrive. His remarks went viral, fueling debates and putting even more pressure on Starmer's response. What started as a political dispute had now become a cultural flashpoint, spiralling beyond Labour or Robinson's control. And just when it seemed like things might calm down, Gervais doubled down. Gervais didn't just crack a joke. He issued a direct challenge that sent shockwaves through both his audience and the political world. And when people heard what he said next, ignoring it was no longer an option.
The anger, I mean, you know, in the news now, you know, with these parties that the government, the people in charge were breaking the rules, having these parties in their lovely gardens. I think I've been naive all my life. It's not till now I just go, why do we trust them? Of course we shouldn't trust the people in charge. That's how they're in charge. They shouldn't be trusted.
What exactly did Gervais say that escalated this from a controversy to a full-blown crisis? His revelation didn't just add fuel to the fire, it shifted the entire conversation, forcing even Starmer's strongest supporters to take a second look.
But when the poison of the far right leads to serious threats to Jess Phillips and others, then in my book, a line has been crossed. I enjoy the cut and thrust of politics, the robust debate that we must have, but that's got to be based on facts and truth, not on lies, not on those who are so desperate for attention that they're prepared to debase themselves and their country. So this government will get on with the job of protecting victims, including child sexual abuse, mandatory reporting, accelerating the processes. But what I won't tolerate is this discussion and debate based on lies without calling it out.
But before we move on, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep bringing you the stories that matter. Now back to the video.
I know what's gone on previously in my previous prison sentences. I wrote a letter to my wife, and it was a detailing letter. Yeah.
You're right. It's all right. This is a letter to your wife from prison. What did you say?
To make sure they understood why I do what I do. And it's me believing that the worst will come.
That you will die in jail.
The worst will come, and I want my children to know that I haven't, yeah.
Gervais waded into the debate with a cutting tweet. Starmer's about as in touch with the working class as I am with quantum physics, quickly racking up thousands of retweets. But this wasn't just offhand mockery. He doubled down on Instagram, calling politics a great British pantomime and pointing out the irony of a jailed man disrupting the establishment more than those in power.
Of Mohammed. They are inflicting what he has told them to, backed up by scripture. This actual terrorist who just went on his killing spree, do you know what he actually said before he went to jail, when he got last sent to prison? He said that we can rape Yazidi women because it commands us to in the Quran. Now you all scratch your heads as to why 90% of grooming gang convictions are Muslim men. You know, we're not even allowed to ask the question if it's linked to scripture. Do you know how infuriating it is? And it wouldn't be, it's infuriating. Innocent people are getting stabbed.
Gervais didn't hold back, remarking, "If Tommy Robinson is your voice of reason, you've got bigger problems than just Starmer," taking aim at both sides. His humour cut through the noise, highlighting Starmer's disconnect with voters. With over 14 million Twitter followers, his message spread far beyond political circles, drawing in people who rarely engaged in politics. In a way that op-eds and news reports hadn't, he made British politics impossible to ignore.
Stabbed and murdered. Terrorist attack after terrorist attack. That doesn't have to happen. You just need to grow a pair of bollocks and sort them out. And stop being so fucking weak. I'm going to burst a blood vessel, but Piers Morgan, you're a hypocrite. Every one of you news presenters sitting there, Syra Khan, you're a hypocrite. You called me a racist and extremist. You'll be sitting there saying, me, I'm from the Islamic community, I'm disgusted. This is because of this. Oh, it's all right for you to say it then, yeah? We were bigots and extremists. You successfully targeted us, slandered us, and silenced us. And everything we called out, we now watch as it plays out. And you do fuck all to stop it.
The political establishment responded with a mix of confusion and concern. Some MPs dismissed Gervais as just a comedian, inadvertently proving his point that those in power would rather shrug off criticism than confront it head-on.
I don't think that Tommy Robinson is frothing anything either.
I didn't say he was either. I said he was an extremist, but I didn't say he was frothing.
Well, I disagree with you on that. And the man that I was there with, in fact, just not one man, but the person I was there with, I was referring to a moment ago, who is Muslim. I'm sure if he was on the line with me right now, he would be putting you straight, that you're giving out the wrong message, that Tommy Robinson is not an extremist. He says certain things that are truths. The reason why he's been convicted to prison for 18 months today, your news bulletin is saying that he put out repeated falsehoods or something like that. Actually, it's the opposite. He'd been put in prison for telling the truth.
As the dust settled, one thing was undeniable. Gervais had changed the conversation. What started as a niche controversy had exploded into a national debate. But beyond the political fallout, his involvement sparked a deeper question. How much influence should entertainers have in shaping political discourse?
The far-right activist Tommy Robinson has been jailed for 18 months for contempt of court after admitting to repeating false allegations about a Syrian refugee. Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, continued to repeat the claims even after he was successfully sued for libel in 2021, including in a film which has been viewed millions of times. Handing down the sentence, the judge said Robinson's actions suggested he regards himself as a...
Robinson's accusations and Gervais's commentary exposed a larger issue: rising distrust in British politics. This was no longer just about Starmer or Labour, but a deeper frustration with a system seen as disconnected from the people. Westminster's old guard now faces pressure from more than just political rivals or the media. Comedians, cultural figures, and even prisoners are reshaping the conversation. In a world where influence extends far beyond Parliament and traditional news outlets, the fight for public trust is playing out in unexpected arenas.
Stephen Yaxley Lennon, better known as Tommy Robinson, has pleaded guilty to contempt of court charges over his banned documentary called Silenced. Robinson was arrested after screening that film at a Trafalgar Square rally in July. The documentary was shown despite a court order banning its release following Robinson's libel loss to a Syrian refugee 3 years ago. Today, appearing at court, he admitted knowingly flouting the injunction multiple times. Well, with potential penalties of up to 2 years in jail, a fine, or both, the hearing continues.
This isn't just about Robinson's accusations or Gervais's sharp wit. It's about a growing demand for real leadership, honesty, and politicians who actually stand for something. With public frustration reaching its peak, Westminster can't afford to keep ignoring the message. Hit subscribe and explore more videos like this.